Another common question that we get, particularly from Northerners, from New Jersey, Connecticut, Illinois, et cetera, is school choice. And I often work with buyers that are out of state, and they'll ask, hey, Alvin, I want to make sure we buy a property that's in a really good school district. I want to make sure my kids go to a great school. And I have to explain to them that in Lee County, we have what's called school choice, and that means that you're not guaranteed to have your kid go to a certain school. Instead, you have a chance to essentially add a list of schools that you want your kid to go to, and then based on a lottery system, basically that will determine where your school is. Jeff, what has been your experience and pros and cons of school choice overall?
Well, I can tell you in 2007, I started doing some stuff in Columbus, Ohio, and it really took me back there. The old school, if you live in this neighborhood, you go to this school. So if it has a really good school, then, if it's an A+ school, then the houses actually cost a lot more as opposed to somewhere with struggling schools. Lee County, all three of my children graduated from Lee County schools and got a great education. Mm-hmm. And the one interesting thing that they've done with school choice, each school has some sort of an identity.
Yeah.
So like even at Island Coast, they have a tilapia farm, which is cool. I bought the tilapia as a friend of mine's. I call it one of my bonus sons was there. So I'd buy 10 pounds of tilapia every year to make sure the program kept going. Right. Each school has a particular focus. Like North Fort Myers High has a heavy art focus.
Yep.
My kids went to North Academy of the Arts, which is kind of an art school, but it was a great school. I mean, probably not supposed to say that, but it's my experience. But each school has its own focus. So you really want to figure out, you're going to be in this zone, you're going to be in that zone. And then you really want to visit the schools and figure out which one is a fit. Because, certain schools have an engineering program. Some schools don't have an engineering program. It just really depends on what they want to do. Some schools have a heavy focus on like the band. Some just kind of have a band. So, and each school has its own particular, feel for it, its own vibe too. So you really want to check them out.
Yeah, I agree 100%. They have their own culture. Some might emphasize the sports or arts differently. And to your point, that sense of competition also creates separation amongst the school, and they all kind of carve out their own niche as opposed to having a mandate. It also becomes very clear as to what some of the best schools are, and it doesn't limit you based on where you buy a property on your kid's ability to go to a great school.
Mm-hmm. No, it's really, if you're a parent, go check the schools out. Go visit them, meet the principal, figure out what every school has a very particular focus. So you can kind of figure it out that, hey, this is what they do well. Like my kids went to North Fort Myers High, and they have a really awesome audiovisual program, particularly if, say, a kid has interest in journalism. While all the schools have that, they had a pretty good program for it. There's just a lot of, it's choice for a reason. And even the schools have kind of made choices on what they're after. So it can be a little intimidating and a little overwhelming because you got to make a decision. So it's almost easier when you don't have school choice. You just live here, you go. So, if there's not enough decisions to be made in this world, it does create more decisions. And, and I also would not go on Facebook and ask a bunch of people, because you generally are only going to get the negativity for the most part on social media. The complainers tend to drown it out, and particularly you go into, there's some Cape Coral forum groups that are pretty awesome for recommendations, but you also are going to get, 99 people had a good experience, one person had a bad. You're probably going to hear about the one person. They're a lot more vocal. So I would tell you, make your own decisions, go to the school, check it out. But school choice is, I have friends that have 3 kids in high school. One just graduated, and each kid went to a different high school.
Yep.
So because it actually fit what the kid was doing.
Right.
And I think the middle kid just didn't want to go where his brother. So, he had to be his own man.
But that's the major benefit, right? Is that you have the option to decide what school is best for each of the kids you may have.